everyone, it's Nolan. Hope everyone's good. 1st November, first trading day of November. So let's see what we're looking at. We've got quite a big week actually, news-wise. So make sure you've had a little look at the news, Forex Factory or whatever you use to find out your high priority news. We've had some Aussie news out earlier. As expected, 2.85% from the rate statement. Yeah, what's the time now in the UK? 10:31. Haven't really got anything until this USD news here, but we've got some Kiwi news later. We got CAD news. That's not the right time. Let me just click on that. That's better. It's 10:31. Wednesday FOMC statement. Obviously in the UK that's an hour earlier because we had our time change on the weekend. I think on the weekend that'll go back. I think the US will change their times and everything will be back to normal. But in the UK here, instead of 7 p.m. it's 6 p.m. for the FOMC statement. Pound official bank rate at 12 o'clock on Thursday. Friday we've got non-farm payroll. Wow, huge week. So you know, be careful. Even if you actually didn't trade this week, you know, what would the harm be really? You know, that's the way I see it. But if you are going to trade, I understand, and just be careful. Be particularly aggressive with your stop loss management. Maybe trade at a slightly lower risk than normal. Lots of stuff you could do if you feel that you need to trade or you've got a trading setup. So obviously with all of this news going on this week, then, you know, pretty much anything could happen. But the way we see it at the moment, the dollar index is in a bullish trend. We see a corrective pattern here, and we've had a nice little bounce off what I would call an anchor trend line. So an anchor trend line acts as support and resistance. So here it acted as resistance. Here it acted as, you could class that little wick down as support, and support again. So potentially this could head up to the top of the correction and then either bounce, another move down, or break out if we see the next impulse begin. Now, we could also see, and I'm going to get my drawing tool here, we could still also see price push down into this trend line. And then I'd be looking for a reaction, a bullish reaction like that, and then hopefully break out. So there's a couple of things that could happen here. Like I said, we've seen this nice push up from the bottom of this correction. So this could be a little correction of this move today, and then we could see that price move up. So let's have a little look at the smaller time frame, 4 hour. What are we seeing? Well, you know, we can see an impulse, little correction there, impulse, correction, impulse, and then a bigger move down. So this bigger move down here could be more of a correction of this impulse to the upside. So moving averages, let me just put those on. Those moving averages on the 4 hour have actually crossed over, and we are in an area actually where I would start looking. If I was looking for those buyers to come in on the USD, I'd really start looking now. It's a bit of a nice zone. You know, we're deep into those averages. We're actually below the 20 moving average. So if we're going to be turning around, I'd be looking for that to happen quite soon. Where is my rectangle? We've got, you know, 111, that kind of area. You can see it's acted as support here. Look, we've actually previously dropped down towards 110.76. We've got that resistance there. So this is a very interesting area. So if I was going to be looking for buys on the US dollar now, I'd probably be waiting for a morning star pattern to form here. So we've had the pullback. We've had a bearish candle, another bearish candle. We're 25 minutes to go. Is that right? Yeah, 25 minutes to go. And then I'll be looking for a bullish candle, preferably closing above this 8 moving average. So a morning star pattern here would give you a high probability of price moving to the upside. Now, if we see price continue to move down, then it could actually be that this is a correction of this impulse down, and we are actually going to come and test this trend line. So what happens over the next, I would say 4 hours, 24 minutes really could kind of identify where price is heading. But also remember, you've got to add in the USD news a little bit later on today, the Fed tomorrow, the rate statement, and the press conference, of course, because the press conference afterwards can really affect price. Then we've got the old non-farm payroll. But just imagining that wasn't going to happen, we'd be watching, or I'm going to be watching, this little area here. Like I say, morning star pattern here. So 3 candlestick pattern, and this would be candle 1, this would be candle 2. The next candle 3 should close bullish above the 8 moving average, which is this black line here. If it does that, then there's a high probability that we're going to push back up and at least test this high again, but be looking for further upside. If we continue to push down, then potentially we are going to push down, at least test this low here, and potentially this bigger trend line here. Okay, so what happens here over the next 4 or so hours could give us clues, or should give us clues, as to where this is going to move next. Let's have a little look at gold. So gold, we were looking for this to push into 1680 last week. We saw this lovely bullish engulfing candle of 1620, which is a previous area of support, as you can see. We traded a, I think it was a buy limit, actually, buy limit, because this is such a big candle. You don't want to place a buy stop above there, stop loss below the low, because targeting this, because your risk reward is just not going to be great at all. It's going to be an inverse reward to risk, basically. So, 0.48 to 1, so risking, 1% of your account to make 0.48 doesn't make much sense, really. So hence we had a buy stop. I can't remember where it was. Probably, I think it was probably, I looked at these lows here and we came in. And yeah, it didn't quite come into 1680, as you can see. It came into about 1675, yeah. Although we did take some profit off on the way. So as you can see, with that entry there, a buy limit, that gives you a bit more of a juicy reward to risk, 1.33. So we did make some money off that and then got stopped out at break even. So what is happening here now? Well, let's have a little look at the 4 hour. We are kind of trapped, between that 1680 and 1620. Well, we've actually seen a change of cycle, haven't we? We've seen this low, high, higher, low, higher, high, to a lower low being formed. So is price forming, or going to form, a lower high here? Are we going to form basically a head and shoulders pattern? Left shoulder, head, right shoulder somewhere. So what I would be interested in is if price comes into this little zone here. You can see this acted as support around about 1657, 1658. This acted as support. It was broken. So I would be interested to see what happens if price comes into this zone here. Hello, Trading View, are you going to work for me? Yeah, it comes into that zone and we see a reversal or an evening star pattern there. So 3 candlestick reversal pattern. So just trying to find an example. That would be something like this, 1, 2, 3. So we have our bullish move and then this bearish move. So if we have this bullish move into the level and then the bearish candle, that would be an evening star pattern. There's a few more rules to it than that, but that's basically what I'm looking for, that push up and then the rejection. And then, if that happens, then I would be looking for 1620 as a target. So again, sitting out of this market, waiting to see what happens with the 4 hour. I'm going to leave that on just for my reference. CAD Swiss is looking interesting, and I'll show you why. We have a rising wedge pattern. Now, rising wedge pattern is traditionally a reversal pattern. You would expect price to break to the downside. And as you can see, we've had this big impulse down, this rising wedge pattern, because the resistance and the support here it's basically a contracting pattern, a squeezing pattern. And we've come into resistance here, which is actually also a 61.8% retracement, I think. Yeah, so this move down here, this impulse came back to 61.8, and we're seeing sellers come in. So this one could be interesting. Now, if you're ultra conservative and a bit more of a safer trader, you'll wait for price to break out of the rising wedge, look for a correction, and then look to sell. If you want to anticipate that this could be the top of the move, then you'll be looking for a sell signal up here. Now, what I'd be looking for is, we've had a strong move down, I would like to see a correction form and then look for a sell setup. So as you can see, look, I'll try and relate it to a move that's already happened. Look at this move from the top of the wedge here. Had this move down, then we saw this correction, and then we saw this other move down. So we actually had a nice candle here. It was an inverted hammer. Not the perfect candle, because I would have liked a shooting star candle, but you can see, you know, buyers came in, sellers took it all the way down, and then we didn't break that high and we had a push down. So I would like to see price push up, see some form of rejection, maybe at 73.50 there, 0.7350. This is a previous area of support, you can see by the tip of this wick. So that would be nice if I saw price push up into this level, saw some form of reversal, looking to get short there. One more chart to look at. Look at the DAX. The DAX weekly downtrend, as you can see, price has previously pushed up above this 20 moving average on the weekly and then reversed. As you can see, pushed up there, broke it, reversed, pushed up there, broke, reversed, pushed up here, broke, reversed. We are now above the 20 moving average. Is history going to repeat itself? That is the question. Is this trend going to continue? Well, I am looking for shorts on this, but I've been looking on shorts for this for a few weeks now, and literally nothing setting up at the moment. So it's just one I'm looking at. The 4-hour trend look, you know, still intact. It helps sometimes if you just use moving averages. I mean, you can see just by looking at that 4-hour price action that price is moving to the upside. There's no change of cycle there. But if you put some moving averages on, if you want to play it really, really safe, you can look for these moving averages to cross over like they did here. Look, we've got our bullish moving averages, then they cross over, and you had a little pullback into the averages there. We had an impulse, this pullback into the averages, and then another impulse down. You could look for the moving averages to cross over and then look for that correction there before you start getting short this market. Obviously, you could continue to go long this market if you get a setup, but I just feel that on the weekly, you know, we are in an area where we could reverse. So I'd just be a little bit careful. But it's still bullish at the moment. Lovely bullish 4-hour. There was a lovely pullback into the moving averages there. It'll pull back into the averages here. Pull back into the averages here. But now, you know, you've got to think of that weekly. Okay, well, we're in a really interesting position. Let me just actually fib from here to here. I just want to have a look where we are. 78.6 is here. Maybe we're heading towards that. Maybe. I'm going to draw it again. Another one from here to there. This one pulled back into the 61.8 and then reversed. So this would be a bit of a deeper, more of a deeper correction if it did reverse. But yeah, just keep your eyes on this one, guys. Again, you know, what happens with the news this week could affect the market. So I am looking for sells. Whether I will get them is a different kettle of fish. But you know, part of trading is to be patient and to wait and stay out of the market until you find a setup that meets your rules. So watching that the DAX, staying out of this market for now. CAD Swiss looking for a correction and then sellers to come in again. Dollar index, waiting to see if we get a morning star pattern here, which would potentially tell us further upside on USD. And gold looking for price to come into 16.55 and then seeing if we get a rejection before I go short. There you go, guys. There's some ideas for you, some things to look at. Please be careful with your trading this week. And if you stay at the market, nothing wrong with that, like I said at the beginning of the webinar. Give us a like, share the video, and if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. We would really, really appreciate that. And share the channel with, like I say, other traders if you know them, and if you think they might appreciate the videos and the analysis that we give you. So from me and the team, have a great rest of your Tuesday, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.